talking about the Small Chord Etude in the Mel Bay Modern Guitar Method Grade 1 book. We have one new chord to add to our vocabulary of chords. Two of the chords we've already encountered. The ones we've encountered: C, C major, we have G, C, and E, and then G7, G, B, and F. The new chord that we're going to add is going to be an F chord. We've already learned an F chord, but this is the top part of your F chord. We have A, C, and F. So on your chart, you'll notice that we have the chord written for one beat, and then we have 3 hash marks. What that's telling us to do is to repeat that same chord. Here we have a specific voicing that they want us to play, and they want it to be repeated 3 times. So like technically 4, but 1, and then repeat it 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what the music is telling us to do. So the small bar, this is one that kind of gives people a little bit of trouble, but it's really not it's not really going to be that difficult. With the C and the F, we're playing that note, those 2 notes actually, with 1 finger. And you can see that I'm just flattening my finger. And then adding that A with the middle finger. So when we're playing through this etude, just to isolate the movements a little bit, you'll notice that my index finger is not moving at all. It's just, well, it's moving, but it's not, I'm not taking my finger off of the string. It flattens, it pivots, and then it pivots back. Of course, this is how you get like the classic, I've been playing chords a whole bunch, marks on your finger. So it's kind of a rite of passage, and it's kind of a little fun. But do be careful. Excuse that. So I'm just isolating my movements away from the rhythm as I'm really getting used to what those rhythms feel like. However, when you're playing through this exercise, I would really encourage you to play it in time as much as possible. Even if you have to play it in a way that you take that last beat as a rest, that's totally fine, to be able to get that movement to happen and to be able to do it in time. I just have that extra beat. It's not an extra beat, but I have that extra little bit of time to move into the chord and to keep the rhythm going. So practice that a few times. One more. you're playing this through, it might be a temptation to kind of chop the chords, meaning playing them like this. This would be an instance that I would recommend. I would recommend experimenting with it because it does sound, it gives you a particular kind of groove. Excuse me. I would be playing it kind of choppy. That's not the cleanest ever, but here I would really recommend playing this as full as possible. I think you're going to get the most out of this etude if you're just, excuse me, trying to talk and play at the same time. I'm working on it. Playing this as full as possible. I think you're going to get the most out of it if you're playing it as full as possible and really working on making sure that the index finger isn't leaving the strings, because it's really becoming our light pivot finger. So another thing that we can practice is we can practice isolating our movements through isolating some of the chords. So just starting on something like F and going to C. We can add our G7. Also a great practice for your picking accuracy. Here I'm using a pick. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But it does really help to make sure that we're not hearing a bunch of open strings. It has a sound of its own, but as far as really getting accurate, with our pick, it's another great help with that. So one last thing to talk about is going to be the notes shared. One thing to point out is, and the notes shared between some of these different exercises and kind of connecting some things. So one thing to point out is when we have our F chord, A, C, and F, the A minor chord, the smaller A minor, A, C, and E chord that we learned in another chord waltz, notice how the only note difference is the F and the E. A, C, F, A, C, E. Notice how another thing that I pointed out in that last lesson was the similarity between A minor and C. We have F, A minor, so as you gain a little bit more confidence moving your fingers and moving into these chords, I always encourage you to start experimenting with some things, and to start drawing some similarities between some of these chords, and maybe asking yourself a question like, why do rhymes work? Well, because they share things in common. Words share things in common with other words. That's why rhymes work. So these chords share notes with each other. So musically, do they rhyme? Well, they sure sound good together. So I guess that can be a question to leave in the comments, perhaps. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the video and you want to see a little bit more, feel free to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up if you'd like to. It really helps out a lot. It's always awkward asking, but it's just what we do. So that would be really helpful. So so experiment with this stuff, have some fun with it, and if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'm always happy to talk to you. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.